Ladies, gentlemen, good morning. Jean-Michel Glachan, Director Florence School. Why should we regulate anything in the society? Obvious, to protect common good, public interest. How could we regulate? Oops, another question. How do we regulate? Mamma mia, it's not the same issue. That's why this conference at Florence School is so interesting. In telecom and media, transportation, water, energy, climate change. You are going to see the extracts. I wish you a good video and a pleasant day as mine.
This is the fourth conference. We do this conference every year. We cover all the European, the Florence School areas, transport, energy, telecommunications, water. We are really interested in transversal issues, interdisciplinary approaches, original things. We also want to promote young researchers and giving the voice to young researchers that look at these things from an innovative way. Today we have a series of highly interesting papers. For example, papers about intermodality, the rail, road, ports, things like that. Other papers that cut across the traditional postal sector and the new information and communication technologies. And sort of looking where these sectors are evolving to and how regulation either shapes the evolution of these sectors or has to cope with the technological changes that are increasingly driving the changes in these sectors.
In order to provide for the role assessment of the regulatory system in Brazil, in our paper we take an interdisciplinary approach, so we try to link the institutional background, the legal rules that are in charge of the railway system, and also do some economics exercise to try to see how the old vertically integrated model and the currently unbundling reform that's being proposed in Brazil will affect both the government and private sector and also the final consumers of the Brazilian railroad system.
This fourth conference about regulation of infrastructure is a very particular conference. It's a peculiar conference because we discuss all the areas together, energy, telecommunications and media, water, transport, and we discuss papers that touch all the common problems and the specific problems that have general relevance. For instance, this year we had papers about, in the telecommunication and media area, papers about the role of non-governmental bodies in affecting the change in regulation in developing and developed countries, or a paper about are the markets changing? Can we assume now that mobile and fixed are on the same market in telecommunication? This is a major change because it would change completely regulation, and we are discussing this. These are the kind of paper we are discussing. We have a conference that in which people present papers from single areas, but then experts of other areas can discuss with them, so we can learn from each other.
So maybe I can just start with my own paper. It's about the intersection of regulation and strategy in the postal sector, and it discusses how the postal sector is challenged by electronic substitutes for letter mail, but also how parcels are growing due to e-commerce, which is enabled by electronic services. So this intersection of regulation and strategy in the postal sector is highly relevant for postal operators because they need to redefine their strategy in a time of strong and fast technological change. And we argue that regulation must also follow this development and enable operators to really adopt their business models to a new technological environment. And I think this fundamental thought is also relevant for other industries. What we have seen here is that regulation is not only important for the firms involved, but also for consumers, and it's really regulation that enables or hinders business models and the development of new technologies.
Infrastructures are crucial for climate change, both in mitigation and adaptation, and also related to all these areas that were studied in this conference: water, transport, energy. And they are especially crucial in developing countries, where there are many needs, and therefore we need to regulate them properly.
My name is Joseph Tomain. This is the second time I've appeared at the Florence School of Regulation. Today I presented a paper on the challenges faced by the U.S. electric industry. They are unprecedented. The beauty of this conference is that I get to learn from a variety of scholars from different countries, and in particular, how Europe is dealing with the interaction of energy and the environment. It's something that we have to learn in the United States, because we treat both of these areas independently, and that is not an optimum situation. So, I'm learning about regulation from a European view, and I will take that back to the States with me.
Today we had two very interesting papers, one concerning French situation and one concerning the Portuguese situation. You've got some similarities between the countries, for example, concerning water regulation. You've got some public and private companies, but you've got also big differences between the two countries. For example, you've got one regulator in Portugal. You do not have any regulator in France. And what was very interesting is that we had two presentations about the same issues with two data sets that were very rich, panel data set over several years, and conclusions that were quite different and with two different points of view. One that is more stressing the fact that in concession contracts you might have some opportunistic behavior coming from the private companies, and one that is stressing the fact that you've got also some political issues here. So it was two presentations that just complete each other's.
This, for us, is a great opportunity to share that experience and encourage more research in the area of regulation on infrastructures. And this is especially needed in many of the emerging markets. So, I mean, we think that this conference is ideal to promote the research in this area and to encourage people to study these areas. I mean, we've noticed with the financial crisis that bad regulation can represent a drainage of resources, and a way to prevent that from happening in the future is to have good, solid research that will improve the conditions of many countries.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you did like it, and if it is so, please, next year attend our conference in June. I will be delighted welcoming you.